Now for what's trending in true crime, Sean Diddy Combs back in the headlines asking a judge to dismiss a lawsuit claiming that he and two others raped a 17-year-old girl. In a motion filed by his legal team Friday, the 54-year-old's attorney is requesting that the federal judge toss out that lawsuit that alleges the music mogul and two co-defendants raped a teenager in New York in a recording studio back in the year 2003. This, while a new documentary about the mogul is making the rounds.
There were rumblings about Diddy's bad behavior for years. Simultaneous raids, a massive show of force.
I know what's gone on.
A stunning downfall.
That doc is really good. I started watching it last night. TMZ, everything they do is well done. They did a beautiful job with this one. The Downfall of Diddy is what it's called. They've got some really juicy stuff in there. And so here's what we're wondering this morning. We know that it's likely, you could bet your bottom dollar, Diddy's going to be tied up in civil court with these cases unless he chooses to settle like he did with Cassie. But what is the likelihood that he sees criminal court? Let's bring in our guests and talk about that. Still with me, jury consultant and human behavior expert Susan Constantine, retired criminal defense attorney Kirk Nurmi, and law enforcement expert Sonny Slaughter. Great to see you all this morning. Okay, so we know he's going to civil court, but will he be going to criminal court soon? Sonny Slaughter, would you kick off our discussion, please?
Good morning, everyone. Julie, you and I must have been doing the same thing last night because I literally went to sleep.
You fell asleep too. I know. I couldn't stay awake.
So I got to hit the rewind on it.
That's
but
right.
As far as the criminal case regarding the federal allegations and what they are currently doing, I do think that he is going to face criminal charges in this particular case. The federal government does not operate like others. They don't go looking for things unless they've got something really tight to tie it into. It takes a lot of time and resources, and the execution of multiple search warrants in different locations says that they were already looking. I said this in the past. His name has come up in other high-profile cases, and now what they are doing is taking everything that they pulled together and going through it. That will still take time, but I don't think that he is going to escape any federal criminal charges. Doesn't mean that he's guilty, but it does mean that these are likely going to see him in a federal courtroom sooner rather than later.
Yes, I'm with you, Sonny. Kirk Nurmi, let's talk about that. Surely Diddy has a big team of lawyers. Would you kind of picture it that there are some handling the civil cases, some handling the potential for a criminal one?
Yeah, I would, and I think both sets of lawyers should be nervous. Sonny's right. I mean, they're not she talked about executing the search warrant. We saw the footage there. That's executing to the search warrant to a different kind of level, right? They went in there and they had good reason, apparently, to believe that there was weaponry. I mean, we see the amount of people. We can see people being pulled out of there, military gear being worn by the officers. So they went in there with good reason. And I think the only reason, and I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been charged already, but the only reason is we don't know how many videotapes or what have you, what they seized. So they have a lot of evidence to go through. And I think that's the only reason we haven't seen an indictment come down yet. But yeah, I think he's got civil lawyers and criminal defense lawyers quite busy at this time.
Definitely. Great points, Kirk. Last but certainly not least, Susan Constantine. Thinking of you, I remember thinking Diddy's body language when he's at the Miami airport, the raids are happening, he's kind of pacing back and forth in that blue jogging suit he had on. And now you wonder, is this the best response for him? So he's kind of laying low. He's sort of staying out of the public eye, letting his lawyers keep filing these motions to dismiss. Susan, you do a lot of consulting work with teams. Talk to me. Do you think this is the proper way for him to handle it?
He's got to pull himself away from it all, and he's got to let his attorneys lead him. The other thing is, what I would be doing if I was on this case, I would be doing so much social media mining, because I want to know what the general public is thinking when they're watching all his demeanor before and after. And I would be seeding those social media sites to get reactions, to feeling what the overall consensus is from the general public. This will help the attorneys guide and lead their case, their case strategy.
Susan, great points. Thank you for that. Let's talk a bit about someone named in the lawsuit found by Diddy's apparently disgruntled producer, Little Rod, really blowing the whistle, and a lot of the most stunning allegations came from that suit. So we told you how Cuba Gooding Jr. is mentioned in the suit, right? And now he's responding to Little Rod, real name Rodney Jones's allegations. And Cuba Gooding Jr. is saying that Jones fabricated his role in any wrongdoing. Gooding is seen with Combs and Jones at a New Year's Eve yacht party, and he states that he didn't spend much time at the gathering. The photo with Jones was framed in a sleazy manner to fit the lawsuit, says Cuba Gooding Jr. And Jones said that Cuba Gooding Jr. was coming on to him and groping him and touching him inappropriately. Take a listen.
I don't know P. Diddy's life. I don't know what he's going through. I don't know what the police are going to find on all of that.
Were you guys close? Were you guys friends, or?
We were acquaintances, just like I just showed you. Yeah. 2-3 times I've seen him, so it's...
Oh, so Diddy, you've only seen him 2 or 3 times.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So why would they include you all of a sudden in some way?
I think because of the darkness of the other grab of the cases that I already had went through.
Right.
Yeah, speaking of those past offenses, is Cuba credible? That's what we're asking this morning. Susan Constantine, I'd love to start with you on this discussion. Please, your thoughts.
Yeah, he doesn't look credible to me right there. He is working way too hard to try to convince. You can see it written all over his face. I mean, not only that, his voice and tone pitch raises. When it pitches and raises is because they're trying to convince again, and they're feeling stressors. But the horizontal lines and the convincing,
I don't know what he's going through. I don't know what the police are going to find out.
Trying to convince you, but there's a lot of stress and fear, and he's also a lot of concern and worry written all over when he says, I don't care. No, he does care, and it's written all over his face. So again, liar, liar, pants on fire on this one.
Cuba's pants are on fire, according to Susan. Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm thinking he needs to be quiet, too. Kirk Nurmi, you know, you see this and knowing what he's been through in the courtroom, the legal cases, and I'm sure his lawyer's like going, What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, too, what Susan said is completely accurate, but that was a media interview. That wasn't court. That wasn't cross-examination. That was just a softball media interview. So if he were to ever get up on the stand and act in that manner, the credibility would be less than zero, right? So, yeah, but ultimately, I think when we talk about these things, he says he's only seen Diddy a couple times, what have you. You know, we're going to go to the tape, right? I mean, one of the things that the feds got is presumably when they raided the compound is all this tape that Mr. Rod had talked about in his lawsuit about, you know, these encounters, these endeavors. There's going to be tape of this stuff. So there's going to be direct evidence, maybe contradicting what he said. And maybe that's why we saw him squirming on what I would consider to be a softball media interview.
You bring up a really great point, Kirk. The tapes. Sonny, this is a perfect point for you to take us home on. Apparently, Diddy had cameras everywhere. Diddy had, it was like a television network, cameras in every room, all different angles. I would think lots and lots of people have to be very, very worried if these freak-off parties and whatever else was going on there have occurred, and if there was anybody underage being sexualized. Your thoughts, Sonny, on Diddy and Cuba, please.
I agree with what everyone has said. The evidence will show in the films, as you said, tapes everywhere. All of this conversation is not because as the expert in expert witnessing cases, what we're going to do is roll the reel and everything will get real for everyone.
Oh, I love how you said that. Boom, drop the mic, Sonny Slaughter. That was a perfect way to end our segment. We're going to be on Diddy Watch on this show and report any news as we have it. Thank you all for that. Susan Constantine, Sonny Slaughter, and Kirk Nurmi. Great having you on Opening Statements.